Welcome to your Conscious Choices for Wellness podcast, hosted by B. Crutelli. This is a space for everyone to learn anything and everything related to healthy healing, including naturopathic medicine, music, dance, yoga, meditation, eco-fashion, mothering, and organic lifestyle choices. Topics for expanding universal consciousness. Come join me weekly as we delve in and begin this journey, sharing valuable content gathered over the past 3 decades, helping to support a healthier and more sustainable future for all.
Today we will be dipping our toes into exploring the wide world of entheogenic substances, plant medicines that contain psychedelic properties, used by indigenous people around the world since the beginning of time to help heal the body.
Hello and welcome to today's beautiful special episode that I am very excited about. I have a guest today, and I've been wanting to have my greatest friend here, Nicole, as a guest of mine because she is somebody very special to me and has been on her healing journey for as long as I have. We have different healing journeys, different kinds of trauma from our childhood, and we are pretty much the same age. We were both born in 1973. So we are feeling like we're going into our wise women phase of life, just kind of hit menopause, and we are really feeling like we want to share more. And what better way to share about holistic healing, having journeys with plant medicine and how that has helped. And so Nicole is somebody that I met over 20 years ago in a small town in Northern California that we have, clicked right away and have remained friends for many, many years. And she, at that time, was just moving to California and was ready to start. I mean, that's pretty much what I get is what your intention was, because right when you moved there, it was like you landed in like a healing sanctuary per se, right? And
right.
Yes, and it was like that was your plan. You were like, oh, this spot looks perfect, and went and moved up into the hills into this beautiful land that was on the Yuba River, and started your healing journey, which I know has been quite a journey for you, and as it should be. And we are always constantly evolving and trying to heal. This lifetime, is just quite a trip, and it's quite a process in the work that we need to do here, and it's just ongoing, and it's beautiful, and I'm very grateful that you're here sharing with me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And so I'm going to let Nicole just give a brief introduction on herself, on her beautiful self, and then we will go into discussing different plant medicines and how it has helped her in her healing path.
So, Nicole, 50 wonderful, soon to be 50 terrific, and starting my journey in the Sweet Sierra foothills, which was a magical landing for me, as it all started in the small town where I was in Pennsylvania, having the Sierras like as a reoccurring theme. The beer I was drinking after work.
Oh,
Sierra.
Was it Sierra Nevada?
Sierra Nevada. My day calendar, I was a teacher. It was Sierra Club.
Oh.
Camping gear, Sierra Design.
Uh-huh.
And even when I was little, naming my future daughter was Sierra Rain.
Aww.
So just landing in the Sierras and just being that perfect landing spot just to start my healing journey. Kind of perfect.
That was. Totally.
Yeah, perfect. Mm-hmm.
So that was a good like intention that you had right away, you know.
Oh, right away.
It seems like even if you didn't know that it was intentional, it seemed very intentional.
You know, just landing on Eric Butner's 600 acres.
Yeah.
With all the shooting stars, the golden eagle flying above me almost every week. Very magical spot to land and just to create the magic and just being grounding to heal.
And so can you talk a little bit about, you know, where you were coming from, like a small town in Pennsylvania to a small town in California, and maybe why you wanted to leave Pennsylvania? You don't need to go into a lot of detail, but just like a little bit, you know, briefly of, you know, your childhood and what you were trying to maybe move away from and start over and to heal from.
Right. Well, I think the biggest reason was I got into a raw vegan diet in Pennsylvania, although my only raw food friends were the four-legged critters outside who enjoyed my compost pile. But
I remember you telling me about that.
Would not come in and have dinner and share dinner with me. Aww. And just being surrounded by pizza, beer, and NASCAR, and very closed-minded. I mean, I just felt so alone from a very little age.
Yeah. You were somebody else.
Somebody else. Yeah. Like, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
I don't belong here. And I was a teacher at the time, and my students were graduating, therefore setting me free. And I just hopped in my car with the intention of just creating a better life. As I connected with other raw foodists online and just heard about this 600-acre raw food retreat, and they needed help. And my intention was just going there to help, and then taking a natural hot springs tour, starting at Ojai up to British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
But I just fell in love and just stayed for, actually it was 14 years. I was there before moving to Marin County.
Right, and that's where we sit now. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sitting in beautiful Marin County in the summer, and it is perfect summer weather here, if you ask me. Kind of similar to Nevada City, but not quite as hot. And Nicole has a beautiful home here with her partner, and she has another home that she can go to in your beach that she had before she met her partner. And it's a beautiful place to be. And we're up here on a hilltop having this conversation, just the two of us today.
And having a hot flash.
Yeah, and hot flashes come and go.
So we're just going with the flow.
Yes, totally.
Embracing this maturity and wisdom and hot flashes.
Yeah, and just, you know, discovering that, you know, there's possibilities all around us, and we can all heal from traumas that we have, however big or small. And, you know, for me, like, I was an only child, and I came from like my own trauma as you know, my own childhood upbringing, but being the same age as Nicole, we like resonated on some level. And just, I think maybe in part that we were on like our own like healing journey. And I think we were both like vegan, and maybe, I don't know if we were both raw foodists at the time. I think we were when we met. So we kind of clicked, and we had other things in common with music, and we could totally go into that. But
dance is medicine.
Dancing, yes, we totally had dancing in common. We love that. She's my favorite dancing partner. We've gone so many places and danced together. So here we are still together and talking about the evolution of a healing journey, and with plant medicine, including psychedelics, which many plant medicines are. There are many that aren't on that level of giving you that psychedelic experience, which is much deeper. It's much more, you know, just really like healing in a like quicker way. It may be a little harder to find, or a little, some people maybe have fear around it, and it's going to be more and more common to be able to find more plant medicine as it's becoming, as cannabis did, more widespread and more legal, and less fear around it, because it really does help people to heal much faster than just going to like therapy and sitting with a counselor, for many sessions, which that can be helpful. But like I say, herbs always help you to heal, quicker. And this is like herbal medicine, plant medicine, fungi. They're here. It's like the earth is giving you this medicine so that you can heal through whatever the fuck you need to heal from. So Nicole, can you just kind of, just talk just a little bit? I know it's difficult and we don't have a lot of time today, but just, a little bit of like your background, your family, where you, came from, and just touch on, your trauma, and then we can segue into talking about the different types of plant medicine and how they've helped you.
Okay. We came from a small town in the East Coast, very poor family. My parents were absent. My beloved Nanan raised 3 of us, my brother and my sister and myself. Not a lot of resources available. Parents were alcoholics and not present. And then my mom married my stepfather, whom we had moved in with. Say it was the house of horrors. He was not a kind man who physically, sexually, and emotionally abused me and my sister. Became pregnant at a very young age, and was so frightened that I was unable to share my story or to share with anyone that I was pregnant. So I carried my pregnancy all by myself, gave birth all by myself in the bathroom of my home. My sister walked into the bathroom. Thank goodness. She saved both of my life and my baby's life. Ended up traveling, calling the ambulance, and then it was on the scanner, the details. So then the whole town knew. As I had given birth, hidden a pregnancy, gave birth all by myself, shamed by the whole town. And then after that, being abused by my stepfather for many years and leaving home at 15. And just pretty much been on my own since then. But just creating a beautiful life here in California, where all of my dreams are coming true. And I attribute that to my experience and my journeys with plant medicine.
And so let's just touch on what has transpired from the time when you were a young girl. I don't know if you were adolescent or teenager when you started having an addiction issue, and how, because part of this also is trauma, but then the trauma leads to addiction. And so Nicole had an addiction that she dealt with for many, many years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How could I forget that?
No.
Well, I was consumed pretty much for 30 plus years with bulimia and body dysmorphia. And again, the plant medicine has helped in tremendous ways.
Yeah. And there are thousands of women. I don't know the numbers, but I might want to put a link to the numbers, something in the show notes about bulimia, because I had heard of it. And like when I met Nicole, like I was kind of thinking before when I was talking about, how we came together and the things we had in common. But during the time, a lot of this time in the early years when I knew my friend here, Nicole, she was struggling hardcore with this, right? She had just moved to California. She was on her healing journey, just starting out. And I feel like she knew already that she wanted, like she was starting her search, and, like intuitively, like on her path to heal through this stuff. And I, of course, wasn't an expert, and I had heard of, bulimia and stuff, but I just, tried to be as supportive as possible. As a friend, it was really difficult, to watch like your friend, anytime you have a loved one or somebody close to you that, has an addiction, whatever it is, you want to be able to help, but a lot of times we can't help. And, Nicole was really like, it was good that you didn't have like kids like distracting you, or, like you could just focus on yourself. And so in the town that we lived in, there were a lot of conscious people, a lot of people waking up and, on their own healing journeys. And so we were very blessed to have lots of, access to different types of plant medicine that, many people maybe can't have in this country, or have to go to another country to get.
Yeah, so just being consumed with this eating disorder, and it was all consuming, and only sharing with the select few my story, and meeting an angel who suggested ayahuasca. And I had no idea about these amazing magical plant medicines. And I was open to receive anything, as I was just so tired of just living. It wasn't my best life, definitely far from being my best life, and just wanting to, and just desiring to live it, and just to just be and live in the highest way that I could.
And be free from that.
And to be free from the bulimia, because it was like I was in this prison. And so we traveled a bit to the Bay Area, and I sat with ayahuasca for the first time. And if you're familiar out there with ayahuasca, it's about purging. Or they say the purging is you're not getting sick, but you're getting well, is you're just going to purge yourself of all that's not serving you. And I remember sitting and being very nervous, as I am right now. This is my very first podcast. But I was in my very first ayahuasca healing circle.
How many people were there?
And there were about 12 people in this beautiful setting in Western Marin. And I had my first cup of tea, as it's served in tea form. And I was sitting there, and I recall raising my hand requesting a bigger bucket, because they give you this very small bucket to purge in, to get well in.
Oh, I had like big ones.
And then we just have little ones, and I was just like, oh, this bucket is not big enough. I was like, God, I felt like I could projectile vomit around the world, It's just like, okay, I'm gonna let go of all that hasn't been serving me.
Yeah, it's like you think of like negative energy just like coming out of your unstuck cells and wherever in your body, right? It's a trip.
Right. Although that evening I did not purge once through an actual physical purge of vomiting. I purged through tears. I cried an ocean, or maybe oceans of tears that night, which was quite powerful.
Yeah.
And
it's almost better in a way. I mean, would you rather throw up or be crying? But it's a good release.
Oh, it was the greatest release, and one of the biggest releases of my life, because I hadn't done any kind of therapy, or maybe therapy for very small amounts of time, but for whatever reason, I'm like, this is not serving me. And I believe that was like step one of just releasing. Releasing. And it was intense, to say the least, but very beautiful and magical, and. And just leaving there, with the sense of being lighter and of a sense of, yeah, perhaps I can overcome. Yeah, it did give me hope. Yeah. It gave me hope. So much hope. And we were so excited. I was with two friends that we wanted to celebrate. It was all of our first time, and we all had our own journey in our own way, but it was very powerful for all of us. So we went to the beach, and we were going to dance and just celebrate. And as we are leaving the van to go to the beach, I get a phone call from my mother, whom I had visited in my dream state that night on the medicine, and I forgave her. And this is the very first time that she's ever asked me if my stepfather, whom abused me, was inappropriate with me, because I forgave her for allowing this to happen. And so I'm just mentioning this because this is the power of that plant medicine. Is it works on a psychic level. It's powerful. And at that moment, I just could not create any more suffering in the world, as I felt that, like I had just let it all go. So I said no, and I hung up, and I went to celebrate. And then I shared with her at a later time regarding that. But it was a powerful night.
Decision.
Yeah, but I have to say my other journeys with that particular plant medicine, ayahuasca, were complete hell. It wasn't my medicine. I felt every time I drank that medicine after that night, I just felt like I was being ripped inside out, physically, mentally, spiritually. So somehow I was wanting to purge myself of the purging, but that was not my medicine. But for some people, it's their medicine. Absolute magical stories I've heard.
Was there, I don't know if I asked you this before, was there like in the other times, because there was like 4 or 5 other times you did it after that? And because I know the first time you actually weren't able to like purge like vomiting, but in the other ones, did that ever happen?
It did.
Okay. So
it did.
But it just...
But I just felt, again, it just all hurt. I mean, all of it.
Much.
I mean, I've thrown up thousands of times in my life, but it was just too much. I just could not.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess, in some ways. So that's, it's really good that, there's not just one plant medicine that can help you in these deep ways, right? We're actually at the end of this. I'm sure you may have already seen, if you've seen in what I've written or the notes, that we're going to touch on MDMA, but not today. But at the end, we may just touch a little bit if we have time. But that is like another, I'll call it a plant medicine. You can get more pure forms. Of course, there's forms that aren't as pure out there. So you really do have to be careful because it's such a popular quote unquote drug, right? But there are pure forms that come from plants that, are harder to find, but that really heal like deeper than anything else. And I know Nicole and I both agree on this. And Nicole we were talking about how she has really felt like she's been helped from that kind of medicine, like so deeply. And and so we're not going to talk about that today, but going on from ayahuasca after that, Nicole, I don't know, there's kind of a timeline here, but these bunch of ayahuasca journeys and then going into the ibogaine.
Correct.
That, like, what was kind of the time period? Was that like within like a 10-year period where you did all of that, or was it longer?
Probably within a 5.
Oh, it was all within like 5 years? Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because after I tried, and I'm still struggling very much, and just maybe even getting worse with the bulimia,
at that point after doing ayahuasca that many times.
Yeah. It wasn't my medicine.
Yeah.
So just going deeper into research and just
like what else is there?
What else is there out there? What medicine? Someone had mentioned the or ibogaine, which is a plant medicine from Africa. So I traveled to Costa Rica, to Lake Arenal, and little retreat center down there with the most beautiful angels facilitating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then when you were there, I remember when you did that, and there was like this little thing that you had on your arm or something too. Remember that? Was that from the frog medicine?
No, that's the toad.
Was that the same place?
No.
Oh, that was different.
What I did the frog medicine was the bofu.
Yeah, but was that at the same place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is something I have never done. I had heard about it, and I thought it was great that Nicole was doing it because, of course, she's searching, for answers and to heal from this trauma and from her addiction and this, disease that is very hard to overcome. If any of you that know, if you have an addiction, how hard it is, right? I mean, some of us, and I can speak from my partner as well, because he also has said he wants to be a guest on the podcast. He is a recovering addict, and I saw him go through what he went through and how hard it was. So what happened, like, when you went down to Costa Rica and you were by yourself, right?
Correct.
And such a brave journey to go there, and just trusting intuitively. Like, did you know anybody else that had done the medicine, or you just did some research?
I just did some research and just how this medicine is used to treat addictions.
Okay.
Opioid, alcoholism.
Mm-hmm. Can you just kind of discuss a little bit of what happened? How you take the medicine. If it lasts, like a day, or if you have to do prep work, like with ayahuasca, you have to do a little bit of prep work, to make sure your body is like purged and clean, beforehand.
Yeah. Really clean diet.
Mm-hmm.
I think I arrived, it's like 5 days in total. Day one was just getting acclimated, just meeting the other participants and the facilitators.
Was it done in a group? It sounded like it was separate, like when you...
Oh, well, when we actually sat with the medicine, it was done in a group. Okay. We each had a bed.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, nice and cozy spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second day we went out, we had to actually go into town to a medical clinic.
Oh, okay.
To...
Make sure, yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
everything was right. Check heartbeat, vitals, all of that. Because it can be very dangerous for some.
Okay.
So you must be in good physical condition. And then the third day, the morning of, one of the facilitators handed me an egg. This was the day that we were going to do the medicine. So he handed me an egg and asked me if I could go to the lake to give this egg as an offering, which I did. I went down. It was beautiful lake, Arenal, nobody around in sight. So I just got naked with my egg, and I swam and I swam, and I dropped the egg with the intention and with the gratitude. Thank you for this medicine, and may I receive what I was needing. May please just set me free from all that's not serving me. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
So pretty much that was my intention.
Yeah.
Was, just getting so much thanks, just being around this in nature. I mean, it's so gorgeous beautiful there. And it was my first time there. And I'm just like, wow. And just, floating on my back and just in that silence when you're underwater and just you're at peace.
Yeah. It's magical.
And yeah, just feeling good and feeling happy and just positive, like going into it, not being scared at all, as some people are. But I was excited because I'm just like, wow, you know, like maybe this is it, you know, this is the magic pill, which it was taken in pill form.
Okay.
And we sat down and they had to put the little monitor on us too. They were very professional, very clean, very warm, very welcoming, like just very sweet facilitators. And yeah, just started my journey that evening after dropping the egg and giving thanks. And I was off and we were off. And
do you want to discuss that, or do you?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure. At first, it was pretty scary. I mean, I was there, and there was this man. He was underground on a wooden cart. Like, what do you call that?
Like a train thing?
Train thing, but it was, you know, not a train. It was just a single cart, and it was like this Mayan man. He was like, I'm going to get you.
It's like the coal mining days.
Yeah, the coal mining. He's like, I'm going to get you, bitch. I'm coming for you, bitch. I'm going to get you. And I was like, oh, you know, and I was just like really scared.
Yeah.
But then I'm just like, no, thank you. No.
As soon as you did that,
then you're not. I'm not going to allow you to come into my space, into my energy. This is about healing. No more coming for me. It's like nobody's coming for me except for my angels. And then with this medicine, it's a dream state. So it's like the dream started with me going back to my childhood, like just where I was free and happy before the trauma.
Yeah.
Just playing in the playground and just smiling and laughing, which brought me great joy. And then, as I had stated earlier, I did become pregnant in a very young age. And I hid the pregnancy as I was so afraid to share with anyone.
Yeah. So did that come up?
That did come up. That did come up because my birth story, I was all alone in my bed, going through labor, screaming in my pillow, being so afraid, even still, not being able to share this with anyone. So the whole town found out, and I was shamed, kind of like the Scarlet Letter. Like, you know, it was like sex, you know, or slut shamed. From the adults to the kids to, you know, even my own mother. Anyway, going back to the dream. My journey on Ibogaine. I was able to go to that little girl. I was able to be there for her in
how she was feeling
in that bed, and to comfort her and to let her know that she was not alone. And somehow we ended back in the lake in this dream, the lake where I dropped the egg earlier. And given Mark had no idea, like nobody knew my backstory, but I had this egg, dropped it in the middle of the lake. And during my medicine journey, I landed back in this lake and I gave birth to my baby boy. And this lake, it was the most beautiful water birth.
Traumatizing.
It wasn't traumatizing.
Yeah, so you got to redo it.
I got to redo it. And as I'm giving birth in this most beautiful lake, there were at least, the sky was full of angels and all of these blessings, like just these sparkles of light were just falling upon us. And it was magical. It was the most beautiful and magical experience of my life. And it was the greatest gift that I was able to give to myself, which turned the most traumatic experience in my life into the most beautiful experience of my life. And then after that, I was able to teleport to this tiny town that I grew up in, and I forgave every single person that ever spoke poorly of me, that ever shamed me, that bullied me. And yeah, it was powerful.
That's very powerful.
It was powerful. It was liberating. It was like, woof.
Yeah. Did you know like why you were able to do that? Like, because that can be very hard for people to forgive, right? And was it that you knew like that it wasn't like their fault, you know, like how people are, it's because they're fucked up themselves, and just like, it's like, you know what, it's not to, don't take it personal, you know, you're like, this isn't about me, like, you know, I'm not going to take any of this on, that's their stuff, and I'm just giving it back to them.
It was
and
huge. It was huge, and kind of Phil Lesh, you know, like unbroken chain, what is it, key, forgiveness is the key to every door. And it's so true. I mean, even if you're, you know, you're not forgiving for the sake of them, it's for your own personal power. That's why we always must forgive.
Right. And like what you're just saying too, it's the key to every door. So that's interesting, right? That's such a good lyric. Did he make that lyric?
Yeah.
Is that, we're quoting Phil Lesh. Rest in peace, Phil. I'm sure you are. You're free. Is that, you know, like you were saying before, and we can segue into this, is that it's like lifting off this burden, right? That so many of us carry, and like, it's just such a freedom to be able to do that, because it's like releasing. That's like such a huge release, right? It's not feeling all that, like that purging release, and that's like a beautiful release. Just being able to like go to that place, to go through all those steps, like you're holding, you know, your authentic self, your person, you know, that you are really deep down underneath all the trauma. Like, and I don't know if that happened in order, like you saw her first, and then you're seeing the little girl that went through the trauma, and holding her and being like, you know, it's okay, you know, and like giving her love, right, that she needed at that time, because that's what you needed.
I mean, I lived the whole 9 months, you know, that I was pregnant, just in this state of terror and fear and just denial too. Like, really, this can't be. I'm not, but there was no denying it. But then just still being so frightened and scared, and just like there was absolutely no one that I could share this with. That's because there wasn't a loving, supportive, like family.
Right, the family systems around you, and and so with the ibogaine medicine, you were able to go through really like what is a truly therapeutic process, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
All the way to the forgiveness.
To the turning the most, as I said,
ugly
traumatic experience of my life into the most beautiful experience of my life. And then the angels and the blessings, and then being able to transport, like teletransport. I mean, it's quite phenomenal, like what this medicine and where we can go, and just being able to forgive.
From Costa Rica to Pennsylvania.
But then, you know, after all that, though, because, you know, a lot of demons out there, too, that don't want us to be well.
That's true.
Because then I fell back into this spiral that I thought the facilitators were whispering that she doesn't belong here. Oh, her clothes are too nice. She shouldn't have received a discount, or this or that, and we should kick her out. You know, it's because everyone, you know, like in my school, like, as I said, the students, the teachers, like whispered.
Yeah. So
and I'm like, no,
that's
you know,
trauma.
but but actually hearing. So those are my demons, because, you know, like there are demons.
Yeah.
There's darkness, there's light. And they try. They want to take away your power. They want to take away your peace. They want to take your beauty. And he was like, no, thank you. But just struggling with that. And that's something that came up in the introspection phase
afterwards
of the medicine. And talking with my facilitators, and they're like, absolutely not, Nicole. We love you so much. But
that was part of it.
That was all part of it. You know, there's dark, there's ugly, there's ebbs, there's flows. There's,
you
know, or this is it. But then I recall also, it was the day, because part of their healing process was using the bofu. Just afterwards, the day after, just kind of to integrate, which is a magical medicine.
From the frog. That's from the frog.
That's from the frog. And I remember smoking that, taking a hit, laying down on the ground, and just like, just becoming one with the earth, and just knowing how powerful we are. We are so powerful. We are so connected. There's so much magic. There's so much beauty in this life. We just need to open our hearts to receive it. To receive it. And that's another podcast. All these magical stories. Like, I know.
I know. Wow,
we did the sweat lodge as well. To sweat out, to sweat it all out.
After that? After the bofu?
Yeah. And that night we were at the lake, and we weren't on we're not on psychedelics anymore. But something exploded in the lake. And I thought it was a little alone, but someone was like, did you see that? It was like an asteroid, or I don't know, maybe just a reminder is just like, take this with you. This is all real. Magic can happen even without psychedelics, entheogens.
It's true. You just have to be tapped in. And sometimes plant medicine can open us up enough to where we can connect more with nature, right? And so just, remembering that, how important it is to keep that connection. So after doing that medicine, which how many years ago was that now?
7.
So I know that helped you more than doing the ayahuasca. And I know it was still a journey, and you still had some work to do after that. But I know that you were maybe after that more, but we come from a cannabis background in the town that we met, and that's how we met in the cannabis industry. And so, Nicole, I think when you first came to California, you were probably maybe smoking some cannabis then and stuff, or no, not at all.
No.
Okay, no. Okay, I thought maybe.
Paranoid.
Okay,
I was like,
you had tried it before back.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But I feel like, so that's what I'm remembering, is that you weren't really like experiencing the cannabis, what do I want to say? You weren't really dabbling in cannabis as a medicine so much. It was more, we had work that we helped, in the cannabis industry. But then I remember, from what I recall in the last several years, that you've become more open to cannabis as a medicine, because it's so easy to access. And really, I don't know if there was a time you remember where you started having experiences where you're like, this is actually helping me with my disease and with my addiction.
It was helping me. It still does help me. Smoking cannabis or eating cannabis just makes me more self-aware. It makes me more conscious of how I'm treating myself, whether it be through my thoughts or my actions. Yeah, it's been helping me sleep.
Sometimes. If it's the right variety.
If it's the right variety.
Yeah.
But, it just, I think that introspection, right? Just more going deeper within. And
I just remember you. Conscious. Yeah, I remember you like telling me like years ago, like I was like, oh, so you're you're, smoking now, or I don't know if you were maybe you were smoking before you started doing edibles. It's kind of like I stopped kind of smoking as much, and I do edibles more now, where I was like kind of afraid of edibles for a long time. But so I remember you saying that it would help you with the bulimia, and that you would be more self-aware, and so you wouldn't want to binge, you wouldn't want to like hurt your body.
I wouldn't want to. I was just kinder. I was more gentle with myself. Am more gentle with myself on cannabis. Just making me so focused on, okay. I mean, a lot of people get the munchies on cannabis. I don't.
Yeah, I know. I thought,
I was like, that would just
I thought that was so odd.
Urge,
I thought that was so odd. I was like, what? You're not hungry? What?
No,
you're like, it does the opposite.
You're like, the opposite. Yeah. It was like a suppressant, or maybe like, that's not going to serve me. Yeah, eating, that's not going to serve me. Although it might make me feel better. And like, they say bulimia, Louise Hay, actually, she'll refer, or the root cause of all diseases is self-hatred.
Oh yeah,
like just like, and like binging, numbing, like you're just stuck in yourself
to like numb
with
something.
Self-hatred. Like this is numbing.
Oh yeah.
Whereas on cannabis, I was more self-loving to myself and not wanting to hurt myself. And again, just being so more gentle with
super
that plant
cool
medicine.
Yeah.
Yes. And I give thanks, in always for cannabis.
Yeah, and we have, such great access. I mean, we've been very blessed for many years to have such great access, right, here in California. And so it is such a blessing to have that medicine for so many people. And now what's happening is that other entheogenic plants like, ayahuasca too, but psychedelics like LSD and psilocybin and MDMA even, and ketamine, which I'm not going to get into that at all. But that these, medicines, these entheogens are becoming more widespread. There's scientific research how it helps people, and it is going to become more and more available and more legal, because it's already legal in some places in California, in Oregon, in Colorado. And that's kind of following after cannabis. It's like cannabis has been like the model, right? Never should have been illegal, ever.
The gateway.
It's the gateway to other good things that will help this planet heal if we have time to do it. So, we're just going to leave today's episode with this, because there is so much to talk about here. And then we do want to do another episode in a few months on MDMA, because we both have experience with that. And I would love to discuss more of that with you. So thank you so much for listening today. This has been awesome. Thank you, Nicole, for being here. You had a beautiful share.
Thank you for receiving me so sweetly.
Yes.
And many happy days to all of you. And love and light.
Yes, love and light. Bye now. Thank you all so very much for listening today. I genuinely hope that you learned something, and I invite you to join me each week so you never miss a conscious wellness beat. This podcast holds a special place in my heart dedicated to my evolution here, my passionate mission to spread more consciousness for the much needed wellness on Earth. Come join me as a guest as well. Let's collaborate, making change for future generations.